In professional sports, mistakes and errors must be extremely small for your team to continuously compete for a championship year in and year out. What's going on, everybody? It's JellyJNBA back with another video, and today's video will be a bit different. I'm going to start a new series on this channel that I revisit periodically, where I look back at some of the worst trades in NBA history. Today's trade will feature a first ballot Hall of Famer being traded for a bag of Lay's chips. But before we get into today's video, I want to thank you guys for your continued support on this channel. It means the world to me. And if you are new here and enjoy NBA content, consider subscribing. I upload basically every single day. Before I jump straight into the full trade that sent Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns, let me set the foundation for why this trade happened for both teams. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns. From 1988 to 1991, the Suns were knocking on the door of the NBA Finals, winning 50 plus games each season and losing in the Western Conference Finals 2 of the 3 years to the Lakers and Blazers. In fact, after the Suns fell to the Blazers in 6 games in 1990, Coach Lionel Hollins exited the floor telling reporters, quote, "We need a Charles Barkley." As for the Sixers, before drafting Barkley in 1984, Philadelphia was just 2 years removed from their first NBA title, won by Dr. J and Moses Malone. Barkley impressed so much in his first 2 seasons as a Sixer that the team wanted to build around him and trade older players like Moses Malone for younger assets. After a 1986 second-round loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, the Sixers looked to reload after they had acquired the first overall pick in the 1986 draft due to a previous trade with the Los Angeles Clippers. But instead, the Sixers decided to trade the first overall pick in the 1986 draft to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for 24-year-old Roy Hinson, who had put up 19.6 points per game in the previous season. But this wasn't the only trade the Sixers would make during the 1986 offseason. The Sixers would also trade Moses Malone to the Washington Bullets in exchange for All-Star center Jeff Ruland and 26-year-old big man Cliff Robinson. These trades would end up being a nightmare for the Sixers because it eventually lost them Barkley, and Moses Malone continued to be a high-level player in Washington for a few more seasons, while Jeff Ruland only played 18 games as a Sixer, and Roy Hinson left after 2 seasons in Philadelphia. Barkley had even told reporters that these trades were, quote, the biggest disaster of his career. After spending 5 more seasons in Philadelphia, Barkley finally demanded a trade during the 1992 season. Now let's move on to the trade. On June 17, 1992, the Sixers would agree to a trade with the Phoenix Suns that would send Charles Barkley to Phoenix in exchange for all-star guard Jeff Hornacek, big man Andrew Lang, and small forward Tim Perry. Now let's talk about the outcome of this trade and the impact that it had on the future of each team. Let's start with the Sixers, whose main piece of this deal revolved around Suns guard Jeff Hornacek. Prior to being traded to Philadelphia, Jeff Hornacek made his one and only NBA All-Star game during the 1991 season, where he averaged 20 points and 5 assists. Hornacek ended up being the only solid player that the Sixers received in turn for Charles Barkley, where he played 2 seasons in Philadelphia and averaged 18 points and 6.5 assists. Andrew Lang would only play 1 season in Philadelphia, where he averaged only 5.3 points, and Tim Perry is most famous for this clip as a Sixer. Now let's move on to the Suns and the absolute heist they pulled off getting a future MVP in Charles Barkley for these 3 players. He played a total of 4 seasons in Phoenix and averaged 23 points and 11.5 rebounds while winning the 1993 league MVP and helping lead the Suns to the finals in the same season, where they eventually fell to the NBA champion Chicago Bulls. This trade is simply one of the worst in NBA history because the Sixers traded a first ballot Hall of Famer in Charles Barkley for 83 games of Jeff Hornacek without a single future first-round pick. In fact, after this trade in 1992, the Sixers would miss the playoffs for 7 consecutive seasons, their longest drought in franchise history. And that's the video, guys. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what other horrible trades in NBA history I should cover in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.